Welcome to Partnerships for Profit, the podcast where we bring you inside the world of joint ventures, strategic partnerships, and powerful collaborations. Each episode, you'll dive into conversations with top entrepreneurs, visionaries, and business leaders, unlocking the secrets to building profitable relationships that drive growth and success. Whether you're looking to expand your network, find new referral partners, or scale your business, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
Welcome to Partnerships for Profit, powered by Leduc Entertainment. Today, I'm joined by Tayrin Cardenas Wittenstein. She's the founder of Cardenas Witt Law. Ty, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Absolutely. Well, tell me a bit about your background and how you got involved with criminal defense law.
Sure. So I'm an attorney. I graduated from the University of Texas in 2009, and I always wanted to do criminal. That was my goal. I never went to law school for any other reason. I think the other kinds of law are pretty boring, honestly. So I wanted to do the interesting stuff. And so in law school, I just did a bunch of works, a bunch of clinics, a bunch of internships and things like that, to where I really immersed myself in that world. I always knew I wanted to be a defense attorney. However, I landed a job as a prosecutor as my first job, which was not planned, but it was actually a great idea because I learned so much. I was a prosecutor for 12 years. The first 3 years on the border of Texas in Laredo, where I'm from, and then the last whatever years since 2013 here. And then 2 years ago, I opened my own criminal defense firm after being a prosecutor in Austin for, I think, almost 10 years.
What were some of those things that you learned in that prosecution role, and then how did you take that into your current role as criminal defense?
So I was, initially I just wanted to have my own business and do my own thing, but I didn't really know, I knew the basics of law, and in law school, they don't really teach you how to run a business, or they don't teach you at all how to run a business. So I think I would have been really drowning had I just started from the beginning. Because I didn't have I didn't have family members that were already lawyers or anything like that could help me with that kind of world. So I ended up getting a job in Laredo, and basically what it helped me with is one, it helped me, I think the most important thing, with my confidence. As a prosecutor, the facts and the law are usually on my side. And so I felt very confident in my cases. I felt very I also gained a very good reputation, I think, in the community, in that I was never like one of those super harsh prosecutors. I always listened. I took into consideration things. And so I used my discretion a lot, and I think I was pretty fair in most cases. So now that I'm a defense attorney, I feel like I've been welcomed very much on this side because of that rapport that I had built, which is not common with all prosecutors and defense attorneys. So the confidence, and two, leadership, because halfway through my time at the Travis County Attorney's Office here in Austin, I was promoted to chief prosecutor. So I was chief of one of the misdemeanor courts, various misdemeanor courts, for 5 or 6 years, where I had 3 prosecutors under me and a whole court team. And so I learned how to be a boss, basically, that really, and how to delegate and things like that, how to teach. And then lastly, it also, I got lots of trial experience. As a prosecutor, you get lots of trial experience. As a defense attorney, it's much more rare. But we had, 30 cases for trial, except for trial every 2 weeks. And so we were just, hammering them out. And so I'm not great at it, but I've got pretty good at it. So that really helped. And I'm glad that I ended up doing that. Plus, it introduced me to the Austin community, the criminal defense community, or the criminal community, which, the judges and, kind of got me into that world. And just becoming a defense attorney without that, support, without that network, would have been really difficult. So yeah, I learned confidence, and I learned how to try cases.
Yeah, and I mean, you also said, like, you didn't have the experience of what it takes to actually run a business.
No,
And
yeah.
so it sounds like you also gained a little bit of like experience there too, as far as like you're doing the work, but now that you're in this role, you're
Yeah.
pivoting into you're
So
using the leadership.
right, exactly. So I feel like the confidence and the leadership, the trial experience, all of that is definitely has definitely helped me be a better defense attorney. However, it didn't help me at all to be a business owner, and so I had to take for a year before I quit my prosecutor job. I was very quietly doing all sorts of research, taking boot camp classes on how to build a small law firm and things like that so that I could get into the business mind, because I knew that one of the main reasons that lawyers fail when they open their own firm is that they're thinking I'm just the best lawyer in the world, but they don't have the business skills to do it, which I did not have. So I literally taught myself mostly through audiobooks in my car, and through some boot camps that I did, and then just workshops, and also a lot of asking a lot of questions from other friends that have been
And that
in the same position.
was that still when you were a prosecutor, or was that after you made the transition?
So it continues. It continues. So
Mhm.
for a year before I quit being a prosecutor, I kind of did it on my own. I had to be kind of quiet about it, and so I did that on my own. But then once I opened my firm, I actually received a lot of support. There's a women's lawyer group in Austin called Mamas on Facebook, and it is basically like mom lawyers that live in Austin,
Mhm.
and it's become a big deal. And so I posted on there that literally the day that I opened my firm, January of 23, and I just kind of told them my story, and I got so many responses, and let's go to lunch, let's go to lunch, let's go to lunch. My main thing was I went to lunch with everybody, and I used the lunches for different ways. Maybe this lunch was to learn about systems, this lunch was to learn about how to deal with clients, so it wasn't just about business. I really kind of picked people's brains a lot, and I continue to do that. And
Mhm.
I'm such a nerd. I'm constantly listening to business audiobooks in my car. So
How did you when you were making that transition? I mean, you said that you were like in the courtroom all the time with
all
your
the time.
prosecutor. Like, how did you balance that extracurricular learning because you knew the direction you wanted it to go, or with all of the hard work that you're already putting into on the other side?
I mean, it was just more hours, it was just more time. Fortunately, when I was preparing, I was one of the chief prosecutors, so I was able to delegate, some things. And I mean, basically, I made it work. It wasn't easy. I made it work. Uh, it would have been harder had I been like not a chief, because I wouldn't have had control over my schedule as much.
Mhm.
But I mean, I made it work, and most of the time, everything that I did was after hours. So it's just a lot of work, a lot of work, a lot of time.
Yeah, yeah. Whenever you are making that big transition, you buckle down and you know exactly what you need to do, and you just do it. You put in the work, put in the time.
Exactly. And I feel like see it like an investment, like, yeah, right now this is really hard. I'm missing time with my family. I'm missing, I feel like sometimes I'm going nuts, because there's so much happening. But I'm like, but I'm putting all this work in now so that, in 3, 5 years I can go calm down and have somebody else doing all the
Mhm.
heavy lifting. That's my plan. And so that's what keeps me going. Like, I'm investing in this business by just pouring myself into it and then making it the best it can be so that then I can take a step back.
It sounds like you're pretty process driven. Like you know that you know what it's going to take to scale and to kind of put those into places. So where are the areas that you're currently working on that you're putting your attention into to build out those systems?
Marketing.
Okay.
So marketing is it's huge.
Mhm.
I have a social media account on Facebook. It's at Abogada Tayrin. Instagram, it's at Cardenas Witt Law. And so we put a bunch of organic content on there. And then I've done like other kind of expos, shows like around the the town to meet people, to meet the community.
Hmm.
And like I was telling you before, my firm, although we take any kind of client, we do really specialize in the cases that have to do with undocumented immigrants when they get
Hmm.
arrested, just because those
Hmm.
cases tend to be harder.
Yeah.
And not everybody takes those cases.
Don't have a ton of people representing and in their corner.
Right, exactly. And they have a few, but maybe they're really good at law, but they're not good at bedside manner, And so it's
Mm.
just like I just wanted to have like the one-stop shop where, somebody who's undocumented can come, feel safe, and I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to take care of you. I'm going to give you good customer service. I'm going to give you communication. I'm going to explain everything really well. You're never going to be alone, and I'm going to fight like hell for your case. And so I tell my clients, a lot of times, especially towards the end of the case when we're trying to get the prosecutor to fold, we I tell them, like, it's just you and me, and we're holding hands, and the wind is blowing, and it's really hard, and we're just holding hands, and we're not going to let go, because at the end of this, if we're still standing, we're going to win. And so that's where, I don't even know what the original question was, but that's where my firm went with. And so most of my social media is in Spanish. And so a lot of my now I remember what I'm working on. Marketing, yeah. And so we're barely starting to do paid marketing now. Um, and also, systems and employees. That has been the most, I mean, I couldn't have done it without the people that work with me. I started in January 2023, literally on my own. By I think February, I had an assistant. And then at this point, a little over 2 years later, I have 4 full-time employees, not including myself,
Nice.
including another attorney,
Hmm.
and then 2 part-time employees, and I've got 3 interns. So, like, and everybody, I take everybody's ideas, I don't care if it's an intern. If you think that we're doing something inefficiently, tell me. And so at my firm, all the ideas are open. Like, if you're not, the new lawyer has a marketing idea, all right, cool, let's go with whatever she says, that sounds good. Or the intern, oh, I saw this cool video on TikTok, cool, let's do that. Like, or just like, hey, this process isn't working, what if we do it this way? Great. So getting the right employees has been um the most, I mean, it actually hasn't been difficult, fortunately for me. I
Hmm.
actually chose well from the beginning. But it's essential. I can't imagine I would have been able to scale the way I have without these specific ladies that I work with.
I can imagine. I can imagine with scaling and trying to make sure you're bringing on the right team members. Part of that is making sure everybody is on the same, like everybody is on the same ship, and that ship is moving in the same direction.
Yeah.
As far
Yeah.
as vision and core values, like all of that, like how has that process been to make, like, to reinforce, like, for them to catch the excitement of what you're trying to do, so that they do want to come alongside you.
Well, I actually just read a book about that. It's called All In. And it basically it getting your employees to care about the company as much as you do, or almost as much as you do. And that's what I feel like the employees that I have right now, even the interns, like, they want to see us grow. They love our mission. All of our the people that we work with have a Hispanic heritage of some sort, and so they love our mission. They are very passionate about it. They also saw that there was a hole in like this world of criminal defense for this niche of people, and so they're super excited. I get them involved in everything. It was at first, it was a very kind of family mentality, but I've kind of changed that to where I'm like, okay, I'm not the boss now. We're not family, but I'm still really approachable,
Mhm.
and things like that. But more than anything is in giving them incentives. What's in it for them? Like I always say, like, as I grow, you grow. You help me grow, you will be there. I that I'm not going to leave you behind. So, and that's what's been happening ever since I hired my first employee. I've been incrementally, raising their pay a little bit to show them like, hey, I'm just raising it $200 this time, but hey, I'm raising it,
Yeah.
and you can see that as we incrementally go up, you're going to do better and better. And respect. And, I think that, not micromanaging, just kind of letting them do their thing, like I hired you for a reason, my operations manager, she's great, she does her thing, I don't need to tell her what to do. My receptionist, my other attorney, like they all know what to do, because I hired the right people, and I hired A players, which to me means like people that if I ask you to do something, it's going to get done. Like I don't have to follow up or anything. That's one of my big pet peeves, is having to follow up on something when I've
Mhm.
already assigned it.
Yeah. And I mean, in building a team, you know that by bringing on the best people onto your team, you know that your clients are going to be the best taken care of possible. And
Right.
so, and you can convey that. It's like, I am, not only am I going to fight tooth and nail for you, but I'm going, like, our entire team is going to fight tooth and nail for you.
That's what I tell them. Like, you don't just have me, you have the entire team. And the thing is, as a lawyer, I don't have the most communication with the clients. My support staff has most communication with the clients, the receptionist, the legal assistant. Even the new attorney, the other attorney has more, will have more contact with the clients. And so it's very important to have somebody that's going to treat them the same way that I would.
Mhm.
I'm very warm and like, come in and I want to make you feel special. I don't care what you're charged with. And that's how I get my business, and so if people aren't, and that's what sets me apart, one of the things that sets me apart, I think. And so if but I'm not the first person they're seeing, or hearing when they walk through the door. So it's really important to have somebody, that first impression, whether it be on the phone or in person, be what I want it to be, the way I would do it. And to trust that the clients are going to be gentle, or that my employees are going to be gentle with the clients,
Mhm.
and things like that. So yeah, it's a lot of trust that you have to put into them. But as an attorney, I can't handle all the calls. I mean, that would just make me crazy.
Right.
So I handle the calls that I have to handle myself. I try to focus my role on only the things that the lead attorney would do, and so if it's not lead attorney, or when it comes to law, then if it's a motion that I just have to sign, all right, I'll read it, sign it. Okay, cool, you do it. So basically, I don't touch things that I don't need a law license for. And
How
that
do
has
you,
actually helped.
sorry to interrupt, how do you create like a cohesive, like, because what you're talking about is brand, like this is, you're talking about your brand, like the
Mhm.
experience that your clients have coming in, and at any point in the process of working with you, it's a consistent experience for them.
Yeah.
How do you, as the the leader of your organization, how do you create that consistent experience when you aren't actively involved, and you're not actively communicating at every stage? Like, how do you put people in place to keep the brand and keep that going? You've talked a little bit about this.
Yeah, I mean, you have to trust them. You just have to trust them, and if somebody's not good at maybe talking on the phone, well, maybe they're really good at doing spreadsheets, but that's so like put them wherever they're good. If they're not good at that, then maybe they're good at something else. Um, but yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's definitely hard, and I am in touch with them all day. Like we have a
Mhm.
text group. We're constantly texting. I'm constantly solving problems all day. Fires that are being put out.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I have help now with another attorney, so that responsibility doesn't lie all on me, because it was getting really heavy.
Mhm.
Not necessarily the workload, because I'm used to a high volume workload, It was just the stories, the suffering on the defense side, the families and all that, and how it was, affecting my clients' lives. This, DWI arrest, something like that. And just little DWI arrest for an undocumented immigrant is the end of the world, and so all of that was just really, really heavy on me. So I have to let it go. And at this point, I still do all of my sales calls. I have a receptionist who answers the phone to qualify them, and then I sell. And eventually I want to stop doing that too, because it's heavy. Like, I mean, every time I pick up the phone to call someone, I'm trying to solve someone's big problem. It's not just like, hey, how are you? Oh, I'd like to buy something. It's like, no, this is my problem, and I need somebody to fix it. How are you going to fix it? And I have to figure out how I'm going to fix it better than, Joe Schmo over there, and faster and more efficiently and with better bedside manner and all of that. And so, yeah.
Well, I mean, okay, so this is a good pivot. In how you do go about solving your clients' problems, what do you feel like your firm is the best at? Like the most exceptional at, with what your in a word, what your offer is.
I think the number one thing would be the defense. I'm very bold and I'm fearless when it comes to the criminal world. I know sometimes it doesn't work out, but I put things up for trial all the time. All the time. And if we have to go to trial, we go to trial, and I'll be prepared. I may win, I may not, but we tried our best. And I don't know where I was going with that. but yeah, so what was the question again?
Where you feel like your firm is
Yeah.
most excellent at?
So the defense. So definitely the defense in that, when people come through my door, I'm not thinking, how am I going to like fix this guy's problem the easiest way? How am I going to just get it done? Especially for my type of clients, because a lot of resolutions to a criminal case that would be wonderful for a US citizen would be totally detrimental to a non-citizen, even if they're here legally, like a legal permanent resident. So yeah, so whenever I get a new case, I'm like, all right, how am I going to get these charges dismissed? And if somebody comes into my office and they've got a smoking gun, I'm going to be like, that one's going to be a hard one to get dismissed, but I sure as hell I'm going to try, and so I look at it that way. I start from the end, and I start preparing for trial right now, right at the beginning. So that's one. But two, also, you're going to feel human. I feel we're going to treat you like not, because there's two kind of steps. There's like the criminal, and then also the Hispanic world, where they don't speak English. They don't really get a lot of people pay attention to them. They don't get explanations. They don't understand a lot of things. And so in the justice system, because they're new here, and so we take that and we're like, come on in. Let me explain everything to you. Our first meeting, we have what's called an intro meeting, with one of my legal assistants, and she goes over all of the courthouse and like how it works and the steps and where we are and how it's going to be. I'm like, okay, here we're going to be parked for like 3 months. We're probably going to be here for a long time. So, and then we also have like a diagram of the courtroom, so that before they even go to the courtroom, we're like, okay, that's the bailiff, that's the judge, this is where you're going to sit, and so they have that confidence that, and I feel like that's something that any law firm could use, not just my law firm because of the Hispanic, but I think that has really worked because people are very nervous. Plus, it kind of shows them immediately that you're already starting to work on the case, and you're not just like getting hired, getting paid thousands of dollars, and then I don't hear from you for a long time, so because that's what could happen. And so having these intro meetings helps us both.
Yeah, and like you were saying, like it really shows your clients how much you care, because you recognize like it's not only do we have this issue, but like we need to communicate like what should they expect. like this, like it's this, and then
Yeah.
this, and then you go here, and then these people you may talk
Yeah,
to.
and you're not alone. That's another thing that I usually always end my sales calls like that when they hire me. I'm like, okay, you know what? You're not alone anymore. You're not going to do this anymore alone. Give me the legal problem. Okay, you guys figure out how you're going to do it with rent and the kids, and you need counseling, you need psychiatric help, you need to exercise, you need something. That's what you need to do. Give me the legal problem.
Mm,
I'll take it. You guys worry about everything else. Worry about your lives after this legal problem is over. Because
mhm,
I'm gonna try and fix it as best as I can, but you have to be ready to like jump back on the wagon and get back out there.
mhm.
And so that's one of the things I do. I feel like they're so anybody that's arrested is scared. It's so scary, and so I just make it a little less scary.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. I'm sure that makes a big difference for your clients. So very.
Yeah, I think so, and
Uh,
I enjoy it. It's not. I
yeah,
enjoy.
not work
Yeah.
all the time. Sometimes it's work, but
Yeah,
there's.
and it's really frustrating because I see like people call me new clients like, oh, I had another case before and I had another attorney and I signed something, but I don't know what I signed. And I look it up and I'm like, you're a felon. You realize that you signed up to be a felon. And he's like, I didn't know that. My attorney just told me to sign there. I'm like, this is insane. This is crazy. So, I just want to make sure that, although my goal is always to get a case dismissed, that's obviously not going to happen in most cases.
Mhm,
So, what they are signing, they one, completely understand, and two, agree with.
yeah. Yeah. How do you go about building relationships within your niche or outside of your niche to like professional business relationships for other attorneys to um, like partner alongside of you in this uh, in your niche specifically? How do you go about doing that? That's the name of our show, and so I want to make sure that we touch on
Well,
that.
yeah, no, and the thing is that, when I was telling you about the Facebook group that gave me a lot of
Mm,
love, and it's all lawyers and lawyers from all different kinds of law, and I had so many. I had, especially there's been two that I've really kind of kept very close contact with, and one of them is a personal injury lawyer who's become one of my best friends, and the other one is an immigration lawyer who we work together a lot because my clients have immigration issues. So, through them, the immigration one has worked out really well because her clients have criminal issues, my clients have immigration issues, and we just kind of pass them back and forth. And I know that she's going to treat them the way I'm going to treat my
mhm,
clients, so I feel good giving them to her. And so she's also out there in the community a lot. We've done like ever since the new administration came in and there was all this fear about people getting arrested. We did a bunch of like late night Zooms
mhm,
together, kind of explaining rights and things like that. So that has been really cool. The other thing, the one with the personal injury attorney, that's been great because she was about 6 or 7 years ahead of me on owning her own business, and she was very
mhm.
successful. And she basically gave me so many tips, and still does to this day, about this hiring, firing, everything. Do this, meet these people. I mean, she's gotten me in touch with probably like 4 or 5 people that one girl got me in touch with like 4 or 5 people that have made my business,
Mm,
escalate hugely. And
yeah.
so, I think that the main thing is don't act like you know everything.
Mm,
Like ask the questions and like these
mhm,
people that are ahead. And also another thing, it's hard to, like not compare yourself to like, I'm like, oh my God, I don't have that many clients. She has all this, she's on a billboard, I'm like, okay, she's been in this for 6 years. You can't complain or compare someone's after to someone's
right.
before, and so it's like you have to keep that in mind. But it's like, but if she made it to that point, I want to do the things that she tells me. So if I get a call from some media and like, hey, they want to do this podcast or this, let me do, like, I'm like, should I do it? She's like, yeah, yeah, or don't do it, or that's not worth it, or things like that. And so that has really helped. But so we do that. I also partner with we have a team, a company of investigators that for all of our heavy cases, our first degree felonies, any of our sex crimes, we always hire a private investigator,
Mm,
and we always hire the same people. And so we're always teamed up together. And yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, I've got so many partnerships. It's just insane.
Yeah, that's
I just,
what we're.
go ahead.
I'm sorry. That's what we're all about is being strategic about forming the relationships and how to nurture those relationships and to where it's not salesy at all, but it's mutually beneficial across the board. Like you want to be human in how you're developing these relationships, so that it just is a natural, like, hey, my client needs help with this thing. I know you well enough that you do this thing. Let me
You're gonna do it well,
treat-
and you're gonna make it
and
priority
I
because I'm
yes, and
sending
I
it to you.
trust you.
Yeah,
I trust you to take care of my client the best that they deserve. Yeah, that's a big deal.
exactly. So that's something that's scary. Is kind of like giving someone like, oh, I've been taking care of them, and I hate it when they call me and they're like, do you have somebody else in mind? I really didn't like them. I'm like, oh, I
Mhm,
hate that,
mhm.
And so, but it is hard. So I think that networking is the biggest thing you could ever do, the biggest partnership you could ever do. You don't have to be
Yeah,
in like a specific actual like written contract partnership to like really help each other out with tit for tat kind of thing. I'll do this, you do that, and so we yeah, it's ongoing. And I also, whenever I have a really really tough case, because I don't know everything, I will partner with maybe someone that's been doing this for like 50 years, to help me with the trial, to like sit with
mhm,
me and like be my co-counsel,
mhm.
because I don't know everything and because I want to win and because the consequences are huge. And so until I feel like I am 100% ready to like do it all myself, which I feel like I could, but it's really nice to have that someone to like hold on to, like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? And so that I partner like that as well, or like other attorneys have asked me to like help them with their cases, and
And
especially in juries.
that's such a good opportunity to explore like how other law firms or how other attorneys kind of handle intricacies like that, and you glean that information alongside the actual help for this particular case.
Right. Well, and the funny thing is that, I have two cases set for trial in a couple of weeks. They're family violence cases, and there's a county here in Central Texas that is very doesn't like to let the cases go.
Mhm.
So the complaining witness or the victim in both of these cases don't want to go forward. They're still with my client. They're still in a relationship. They're happy. The injury was like minimal. You can't even, in both cases, you can't even see it on pictures. It was just no criminal history, like just, you know, like in normal places, they're like, well, if she doesn't care, why are we going to care? So
Mhm.
dismiss it. Here they go to trial without the victims. And so,
Mm.
although a lot of the stuff can't come in because it's hearsay, they get around it. And that was something that I had never seen working in Travis County as a prosecutor. And so I actually got a really cool opportunity because I was set for trial a couple weeks ago on this same case. There was another lady who was set for trial on a similar family violence case, no complaining witness, same thing. And her partner, the day of trial, the morning of trial, got sick and went to the hospital. And
Mm.
I was already there. I was like, okay, I'm here, but my case is not going to go. Yours is going to go. And she's like, I need help. Can you help me? I was like, you know what? I really want to know how this works with this no victim thing. Like, how
Yeah.
does this work? So I was like, absolutely, and I took time out of and it cost me money to like take 4 days out of my schedule, but it was an incredible uh, idea to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. A lot of different ways to get connected to other people and to learn and mutually help one another. Um, I know you said that your social media is mostly in Spanish.
Mhm.
Could you give the handles on that again, where people can find you?
Yes, it's on Instagram. It's at sorry, I have two different ones. At Cardenas Witt Law, so just like it says right there. And then on Facebook, I'm at Abogada Tayrin. So it's Abogada Tayrin. Abogada Tayrin. We do have some English stuff coming up. My new attorney is an English speaker, and so she's doing more English
Cool.
content than Spanish. And so, we're we're definitely growing, and we help everybody. We don't just help, I have lots of totally people that don't even know that my firm is primarily for Hispanics. And they're like, oh, I didn't even realize this, and we give them good representation.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Good. Yeah, really appreciated having you on here. Any other final thoughts to share with the audience?
Just that, it's scary. It's really scary, and I live my life, half excited, half like terrified all the time because of the business. But I always tell myself this is why not everybody does this, because it is really hard, and so if I want to make this happen, I got to do it. If that means I have to take a break, take a vacation, take all day in bed, whatever, but I can't give up on this, because this is where people give up, and I'm not doing that, because I'm going to be successful. So that's my advice.
For sure. Well, Tayrin, thank you so much for being here and getting to share a little bit more. Yeah, it was a pleasure. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Right. We'll see everybody next time.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Partnerships for Profit. We hope you've gained valuable insights on how to form profitable partnerships and take your business to the next level. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. Got a partnership story to share or someone you'd like to see featured on the show? Reach out to us. Until next time, keep building those partnerships for profit.